So welcome everybody to today's meditation session. Wonderful to see you all, and a very auspicious day today, the full moon Uposita day, and also for many people around the world, this is the day that Magha Puja is being celebrated. I put some notes in the chat for you to look at later, giving you a reference to the Ovada Patimokkha, which is the teaching that was given by the Buddha that's commemorated today. The teaching was given on the occasion of a spontaneous gathering of 1,250 arahants, we're told. And the Buddha gave a beautiful teaching about the way of practice. And you may think, because he was teaching arahants, that this was not something that's relevant for us, but actually, when you look at the Ovada Patimokkha, it is eminently practical, doable, and it's for every single person. A great summary of the path of practice. So I just put that out there for you. Thanks to our 8 precept group who met earlier to take the precepts. We had a little conversation about the Ovada Patimokkha. So without any further ado, let's have some meditation time. And so please feel very welcome to relax, sit back, and get into a good and comfortable and upright posture. We have an hour together. We'll be meditating for 40-45 minutes. So please be comfortable and closing the eyes, bringing the attention into the body. Breathing deep. Feel what you feel. This body awareness, it's a whole world for us of experience. So good to set aside other concerns, close down in a way the sense doors, closing the eyes, putting aside seeing for some time now. Hearing, it's always happening for us, unless we stuff our ears full of some substance or other. We can hear what's going on around us all the time, but we can choose to give less attention to the sounds outside and do the deep listening within. Listening, sensing, feeling this body. Simple experience of touch. Here and there, the hands perhaps, fingers or palms touching, or the hands touching the legs, the arms resting perhaps on the legs, on the lap. But we're still, and even this is not grabbing our attention. Taste, neutral at this time. Smell, let's see. But sitting here in a room, in a space where nothing is going to be impinging on us, hopefully for this time, the senses can come to a kind of rest. And we can bring the attention more fully into the sense of being embodied, this experience of body sitting. The Buddha gave us so many ways to observe this body, this part of the material world that we can learn most from, that we kind of inhabit, don't we? This is our piece, constantly changing. sentience. And so we can learn from this experience and consider the body in all the ways that the Buddha gave us. Last week we were considering all the parts of the body, 31 or 32 body parts, meditation, the purpose of which is to wake us up to the reality of what is here. What is this body made of? Well, today I'd like to follow through with the next teaching the Buddha gave in Satipatthana Sutta, to consider the body in terms of the elements. It's like going even more deeply into the structure here. What's it made of? What are all of those body parts made of? And it's really rather wonderful that the deeper we dive into the material world, in a sense, the more simple it becomes. And the purpose of investigating the elements that make up this body and all things is to recognize the reality of not self. When we dive deep and we look closely, we divide and dissect up this body, how can we possibly identify with it? It helps us so much to let go of the illusion of me, mine, myself. And so I'd like to just guide us through considering these 4 elements with space as the 5th. So let's first consider earth element. Earth element, that which is solid, which has weight. Can we focus on the weight of this body? Can we feel the force of gravity that's tethering us to the earth itself? Part of the earth. We're bound here, we're rooted here. Earth element, weight and structure and solidity, feeling the hard parts of the body, the teeth, considering the skeleton, the framework of this body, the nails, the hair, feeling out the meaning of earth element, that quality of solidity. And we can open up as we sit, as we consider earth element, to that which we're sitting upon, the structure, the ground, in whatever form it is. Maybe a cushion, chair, the floor. And below that, foundations. And then we can touch the earth itself. Considering this solidity in all things, in all the material world, there is this quality. Every piece, every part of the material world has this quality we call earth element. And it's exactly the same here, this felt sense and appreciation of this element is the same here as everywhere else. And we can consider how there's a constant exchange going on between this form and all the world around us. As we eat, take in earth element. As we defecate, remove earth element. Which bit is me? Which bit is mine? How long is it with me for? Constantly changing, exchanging, impersonal. The Buddha said, we can be like the earth that receives everything without any kind of judgment, no views or opinions. That quality, earth quality of solidity, stability, it's a bit like patience, the quality of patience that is still, has no agenda, is accepting the way it is. Be like the earth, the Buddha said. It can receive anything at all, peacefully, generously, without being affected. Feeling out in the body this quality or qualities of weight, of substance, of solidity, of structure. We can observe earth element right here. And the feeling of touch, earth element, solid surfaces coming together. Feeling the tongue against the palate, perhaps the teeth touching, the arms touching the legs, the hands in the lap, feet on the ground, legs on the mat. Earth element. And then we can bring to mind and consider water element in our meditation practice. Can we know water element? Can we feel it out in this body? The saliva in the mouth. The cohesion of this body, that which holds it together. The softness of the skin. swallowing. Can we feel the bladder full of urine? Can we feel the pulsations here and there as the circulation moves the liquid blood around the body? The moisture around the eyeballs, the fluid of the joints. Just to consider, feel out, what is this water element the Buddha directed us to meditate upon? And casting our attention around us, the rain, the clouds, all the waterways, rivers, streams, and the great oceans themselves. Water element, the same water element here as there. Of course, it's impersonal. It comes and goes as we drink, as we urinate, as we sweat, tears and spit, coming and going, constantly changing water element. As within, so without. The Buddha said, let's be like water. Let's be like water element, washing everything clean, making no distinction. Put anything into water and we can wash it, flowing through the quality in the human heart that is water element, flexibility, the ability to flow with, not to make a problem, no obstruction. It flows around obstruction, doesn't fight with obstacles, but flows through and around them. We can consider water element in this way also. Be like water, the Buddha said, of nature, Dhamma. And so let's spend some time focusing on this aspect of reality that is water element. Here, what can be known of it? Can we feel the cohesion that is water element, without which we'd be like a kind of this body, like a pile of flour or dust. Add water to flour, knead it, and there's the structure. So it is with these bodies. Water element giving the shape. Holding it all together, flowing through, lubricating, moistening quality. How can we experience this? See where the attention goes as we investigate water element. We feel the moisture around the eyes, inside of the mouth, the throat. Can we feel sweat on the skin, helping to keep us cool? The mucous membranes here and there in the body. And inside, the constant flow, liquidity here in the belly, the movements of the chest, up in the brain, in the skull, full of liquid. The spine, the joints. Noticing that quality of fluidity, flexibility, the suppleness of the body, water element. And now I'd like to invite us all to consider fire elements, the third of the four great elements. Fire element in the body. Can we bring our attention and notice the warmth or coolness here and there? Can we notice how the center of the body is radiating heat from the stomach, digestive system, feeling the warmth within? Can we feel the touch of the air, its coolness on the skin? Cool surfaces here and there, or the warmth where we're covered with clothes. Fire element, that which ages the body. We're slowly burning up, consuming. The digestive system, like a furnace within, isn't it? We put in the food and it burns it up, breaks it down. Fire element, releasing heat. As within, so without. The Buddha invited us to consider this fire element we can experience here. It's the same fire element in the sun, in flames, in candle light, lanterns, Fire element, light, warmth. The whole range of temperature, from the hot to the cold to the freezing. So we can consider this element, this part of nature, this aspect of the material world right here in the body, hot and cold, constantly changing. The Buddha said, can we be like fire element? Burning up any kind of substance, anything whatsoever, put it into fire and it will burn up, disintegrate, transform. This energy in the heart of transformation, the energy of enthusiasm, effort, the ability to burn up, burn through any kind of obstacle, any kind of defilement. The Buddha said, like putting gold into a crucible, we can use this mindfulness to purify, to transform all the hindrances into liberation, seeing, understanding. Fire element. Can we be like fire element and burn through? Let go. Allow all things to be transformed, purified. This quality of ardor, of urgency, of enthusiasm in the human heart. This element of fire in the material world. Let's consider fire element. When there's anger, can I simply notice the heat of fire element? And so appreciate its value. Be free from its danger. Let it burn freely, but with mindfulness, containing it. When we pay attention to fire element in this way, we can't be overwhelmed by heat. We just feel it for what it is. Breathing through and allowing it to burn up all the impurities. Feeling hot, feeling cold, noticing in this body all the nuances of fire element, making peace with them all. We often feel too hot, too cold, have to do something about it. But first, Let's simply observe the way it is. See how fire element is manifesting for you. Feel it out. Noticing its impersonal nature, its changeability. And let's consider the fourth of the four great elements, air element. Breathing it in, feeling the air outside, becoming the air inside. This constant exchange, giving us life, movement of air element. Feeling the lungs expanding, the belly expanding and contracting and letting go and releasing. Air element, the quality of movement, the air itself, winds. We can feel in the body movements of air element. In the belly, bringing air out of the body sometimes. We can feel the perhaps subtle vibrations in the body, subtle movements. Can you feel on the surface, the skin, always something going on? That very subtle vibration of movement here. Movement, sensation, vibration, air element. As within, so without. The winds that blow, from the slightest breeze to the strongest hurricane, air element, movement, And we are so able to appreciate this as these bodies are constantly moving, aren't they? As we breathe, it never stops. We're never still. The ability to move is our element. Impersonal quality in all material things, this aspect of movement. And the Buddha said, be like air, be like the air element that blows through. Nothing can stop it. Nothing is an obstacle, nothing gets in the way of this quality. Can we be like the air, treating all things the same, not getting snagged up on anything, able to move freely, peacefully, around and through all things? This quality in the human heart, vibration, movement, ability to be open, ability to resonate with, empathy, sympathy, compassion. Air element, that openness in the human heart, that connecting quality. Just as the air is everywhere, this great envelope around this entire planet, Earth, so can our hearts be wide open, spacious and ready to resonate with what is. No obstacle, no view, nothing to protect or defend. Our ability to be with, move with, tune in. Air element. And so we can consider in these different ways this quality, seeing its changeability, seeing its impersonal nature, experiencing it within this form. How does it manifest? How can I know this element here? Feeling the breath in all different parts of the body, moving through the vibrations, the bubbling gases, the movements, the micro movements, even as we sit still. How still is still? Feeling out quality of air element. And I just like to bring in for your consideration space element. Consider the absence of the great four. Just as this planet is sitting in infinite space, so we can usefully consider space element here. Noticing the spaces within the mouth, around the eyes, between objects, the space in the room that enables objects to manifest, to exist at all. That which is the backdrop for this material realm. How can we understand space element here? That which enables movement. The lungs make space for the air. The stomach makes space for the food. The sinuses, the throat makes space for speech, for swallowing. We can just consider this quality Can we be like space, open, empty, receptive, enabling, quietly, invisibly? This quality in the human heart, spaciousness, just as we develop in our mindfulness practice the ability to discern, to distinguish, to contemplate reality in so many different ways. So too, at the same time, spaciousness arises. The space between that which observes and that which is observed. The ability to step back from our experience. Not to identify with anything whatsoever. Spacious, empty. These qualities of the human heart we can consider, we can develop, and see how we can learn about space element right here. How can I experience this quality? Feeling out space element, so much vaster than even the four great elements. That which contains everything, enables everything. The vast emptiness, openness, like consciousness itself. Holding everything, receiving everything without any difficulty whatsoever. That which can allow all things to arise, to exist for some time, and then to pass away. And the space is unchanged, always ready. There's always room. There's room for everything. Everything is welcome here. Perhaps we can consider giving energy and attention to this space element, the qualities of space. Or we can observe as they quite naturally arise. Space element. And for this last little while, this meditation practice, I'd like to invite us to consider the final element, consciousness, that which knows, that which observes, this experience of being here, just as space element contains the four great elements, so consciousness element contains it all. Consciousness, the creator of all things. This is our resting place. Can we see how this consciousness too is constantly changing? Is there anybody there? Does it belong to anyone? Is the consciousness experienced by you different from the consciousness experienced by the other? We have this opportunity to see, to define, to contemplate the element of consciousness as we meditate. Feel out the relationship between consciousness and the other five elements. Is there any difference? Is any one element more personal than another? Are they not all subject to change, flowing through, impersonal, part of nature? Can we see and relate to consciousness element in the same way that we relate to all the other elements? Can we let it be, recognizing not me, not mine, subject to change, born of causes, due to conditions, flowing on through? Let's consider consciousness element. And so we've had this opportunity to apply this particular way of observing this body, this mind, this heart from the Lord Buddha, guiding us towards freedom, stepping back, letting go, seeing what we are not. I'd like to invite you to just gradually have a good stretch, open the eyes, and see how things change as we come out of the meditation practice.